Hey there, I'm Charlotte Smith of 3 Count Marketing and the Profitable Mindset podcast, which you will find everywhere, wherever you listen to podcasts. And I'm here today to continue our discussion of the 25 steps to start and set up your farm business. And this is for you if you're in the first few years of farming. You don't necessarily have to be a brand new farmer. It's perfect for you if you're a brand new farmer. But if you've been in business for a few years, chances are you've missed some things of these 25 steps that will help you get profitable and sustainable quicker, even now. Because this is the full checklist. I've got the link in there for you along with this video. So you can get the full checklist and follow along or even take notes. And it probably took me 5 years to figure out on my own all those things that are on the checklist. So I am saving you time and years of stress and heartache, and you will, and also money. I would have made money faster had I had this list. So you can get the whole checklist, but I'm going to describe each step too with all the details. This is going to be a 5-part series. It's episodes 1 through 5 on the Profitable Mindset podcast. And I'm going to divide it up into 5 videos here as well. And the reason is it's a lot of detail, but a lot of people I find don't necessarily have time to sit down and watch a 30 or 45-minute video on this. So I'm going to try to keep them all around 20 minutes. So be sure to get the whole series if you're brand new. All right. I left off yesterday. I already did a video, steps 1 through 4. I'm going to start in with step number 5, which is to meet with an accountant. What I would love for you to do, and I highly recommend, is you have an initial consultation with an accountant. Even if you've had experience doing your own accounting, or maybe you have a degree in accounting, if you're focusing on your farm and building a farm business and building a farm itself, you won't have time to keep up on all the things you'll need to keep up with in your accounting practice. And I swear my accountant is worth his weight in gold for so many reasons. He has kept up on every year the laws change. For instance, this year I went in and I can no longer write off gifts. Well, I didn't know that. I give a Christmas gift to my employees every year. Everybody gets a Christmas gift, nothing extravagant. And I thought it was a business expense. Well, it was up until this year. We can no longer write off gifts. But he said, don't worry about it. We will move that into the promotions category. Well, I never would have thought of that. Even if I had heard the law changed, which I wouldn't have had time to keep up on, I wouldn't have realized, well, I can still write it off. Let's just get creative and use the promotions category. That is how my accountant helps me every year. So every year he gets all the updates on the laws and he makes sure I'm legal there. And often farmers are tagged unfairly for audits. Well, I can't say unfairly. We are tagged at a higher rate. We're targeted for audits because our expenses are so high compared to our income. On a different kind of business, perhaps, the expenses might be here and the income might be here. On a farm, it's, a little bit like this. And so going through an audit is really tough. I haven't been through an audit personally, but my parents' farm was audited twice when I was a teenager. And I remember their whole office was covered in papers and there were guys there in business attire every day it was probably, a week at the most. It seems like it went on for a month, and they go through every last little scrap of paper. So my tax accountant does what he can to help me avoid an audit. And I want you to not be flagged for an audit either. It's just a headache we don't need. I mean, I have all the receipts, I have all the documentation, but I don't want that headache of some business people in my office, in my house for a week, going through every little nook and cranny. So meet with an accountant, make sure they have experience with farmers, doing farmers' taxes. Farmers, and I mean farmers, ranchers, homesteaders, make sure they have experience with what we're doing. So ask around your farmer friends. If you probably know other people in your community doing something similar to what you're doing. Ask who they use as an accountant, get some names. meet with someone, I like to meet with them in person because I want to know their personality. I want to make sure that we have a great working relationship because I talk to my accountant a lot and I have payroll and payroll taxes and all just and plus our taxes we have prepared once a year. So I want to make sure that he's got my best interests in mind and we get along. And he lives or his office is about 30 minutes away, which I like being able to have that in-person meeting at least once a year. So we go in every summer in person to kind of predict how we're going to end up the year. And he gives us strategy, ideas that we should incorporate before the end of the year, depending on how things are looking. So I want that for you. Find a tax accountant. If you think you're going to do it yourself, I've always had farmers I work with have always reported that their tax accountant always ends up saving them money. And usually it's more than you ever get charged for your fees of doing your taxes. That's been the case for me too. For years and years, I've had an accountant for 30 years. I got a different accountant when I started my farm. He's always saved us way more money than the bill ever is that he charges us. So go for that. Get your accountant. Second thing I want you to do, remember, starting your farm business, is ask your accountant about these next few steps. The next step is to get an employee identification number, or an EIN. And you can do this online. It's free, but just make sure you go to the .gov site, all right, and take care of that. You will need this before, well, no, I guess you won't need this before you open your bank account. That's the next step. So don't worry about that, but you do need this. So go ahead and file for that. And again, it's free, and you'll need that when you start doing your taxes. The step 7 is to register your business name. Now, this is the step that you definitely have to do before you can open your business checking accounts and bank accounts. So you just go to, it's going to be different depending on where you live. In Oregon, where I live, it is the Secretary of State's office. So I Google that, I get on there, and I just register my name. It's free. You're not going to get anything in the mail. Nothing happens. You register and then you're done. It's super simple process. But you've got to register your business name before you open your bank account. So that's why it's important that be done. And these are some of the steps. These last few steps are often steps that people have been farming for years without taking these steps. So I want to get you legitimate. I want you to build a profitable business. So these steps are going to help you get there. And then step number 8, and again, ask your accountant about this, understand your options when it comes to business entities. So again, here I'm looking at my notes. Each state has their own rules on business entities. So ask a professional. I'm a farmer. Don't ask another farmer. We won't know your needs and what you need to do, but be sure you find out if you need to be a sole proprietor or an LLC or an S Corp or C Corp or any of those things. All right. Find out what that is and then file. My raw milk dairy is an LLC, and that is because of my accountant's recommendation. All right. So just make sure you've got the right one chosen. Talk that over probably with your accountant. And then, okay, this step number 9 is a huge one. I have a friend who is an attorney for farmers, and she said that probably the most common mistake that almost all farmers make when they come to her, and usually they come to her because they have a little legal problem of some sort they need her to sort out, and that is that they mix their personal and business finances. They commingle their funds. Usually it looks like this. They're running their business, their farm expenses, they're paying them out of their personal account. You need to separate that out. That is a big no-no for the IRS. They hate when you commingle your funds. So now that you've done the step 7, registered your business name, get into the bank as soon as you can and open separate accounts for your business. It's usually a checking account and a savings account. and it should be free. Your bank should be able to set that up for you in a way that you don't have any fees. For instance, maybe there's just a balance requirement of $500, which is really minimal on a farm. So have that balance requirement, or maybe there's a requirement of a transfer once a month to a savings account or something. But whatever it is, it should be easy to meet those requirements, because you should not have to have a bank account where you have to pay a fee. They got your money anyway. They're making money off your money. Figure out what you need to do to avoid those fees. That way you can not commingle your funds. Again, so many people do this. They well, not really accidentally, but they think it's okay when they're just starting out to pay bills out of their personal account, go buy their, pay the person who did their fencing and go buy their equipment to get set up, or animals. And they always think they'll get to a bank account later. Well, if something happens at first and you end up in the attorney's office, which my friend deals with farmers all day long, and you've commingled your funds, that's a real big problem. So be sure you get that. It seems like such a tiny little thing. But when I heard her talk, and she told me all the different horror stories that little tiny farm businesses who think they're immune get caught for, it was like, whoa, everybody needs to get out there and open their business bank accounts ASAP. So get that done. And again, it's free. It's free. And you've registered your business name. So they're going to check that registry and they'll open it up for you and you're all set. All right. So that is step number 9. And let's move on to step number 10. Oh, this is a good one. Set up a payment processing system. We have a farm store, or maybe you go to a farmer's market booth, or maybe your plan is to do drop and delivery sites. We love squareup.com as our POS, which is point of sale system. Is it point of sale or point of service? I can't remember. We call it our POS system. So we use that because we can get the app on all of our phones, any of us in my family who might take payments, or anybody working in the farm store. And also it's on the iPad that either sits in the farm store or goes with us when we're doing drops and deliveries. So no matter who is talking to anyone, we can just pull up our device, phone or iPad, and charge them right there, even though, maybe my husband is over here ringing up a charge too. SquareUp has been great and easy to use. I use PayPal as well. And PayPal is really handy for me to put a link when we're signing up kids to our farm camp. It's just a one-time fee. And so people can just go to our website and click that link. It's really easy to get your PayPal link on your website so they can pay for the quarter beef, or pay the deposit for the quarter beef, or pay for the farm camp, or pay for the farm tour. So I like PayPal for that. Plus, I use PayPal to send invoices all the time, whether it's the balance on their quarter beef they ordered, or whatever it might be. It's really great and easy to send invoices there. Now, you might be thinking, well, Charlotte, I'm going to ignore this step because I'm going to be all cash and checks. Well, I want you to consider shifting this mindset. I'm not telling you what to do. You can keep the idea that you're going to be an all check and cash based business. But for a moment, I just want you to consider that this idea, you don't have to embrace it. Consider the idea that using credit cards is the cost of doing business in today's world. I work with hundreds of farmers a year in my paid classes and paid consulting. Every single one of them, including my farm, as soon as we start accepting credit cards, our sales pretty much double without doing anything else. No more marketing, no more nothing. And here's why. If someone has a $20 bill or a 50 or two 20s in their wallet, that's all they can spend. And hardly anyone carries a checkbook around anymore. It is so common that someone comes in our farm store and they pick out 3 or 4 or 5 items and they put them on the counter to purchase, and they reach for their purse and they say, "You don't take cards, do you?" And as soon as the employee or somebody says, "Oh, sure, we take all cards," they go back into the store and they grab like 5 or 10 more items, and their sales go from the $50 they might have spent to 150 or 200, or often they'll say, oh, well, then sign me up for a quarter beef and a half and hog. And all of a sudden, we took a $50 sale and turned it into a $2,000 sale. This happens all the time. This is not the exception. This is a regular occurrence. So I am happy to pay the fees of 3% on average that Square Up might charge, or PayPal. I'm so happy to pay those fees for a $2,000 sale when the alternative was just a $50 sale. You all know how hard it is to scramble to find new customers. So, a big part of building a sustainable business is getting your current customers to spend more money so you don't have to be scrambling for new ones all the time. And accepting credit cards will make that happen. Guaranteed. All right. So, this is the cost of doing business today. Get set up to accept credit cards. You will make so many more sales. I can't say enough that this is one of the biggest mistakes farmers make, is they wait way too long to start accepting credit cards. And if someone lands on your website and they're looking for grass-fed beef, and yours is like the absolute best beef in the world, hands down, but it says in there, send a check to this address to reserve your beef, they are very likely to click away to another website that makes it easier to purchase, maybe even like Amazon, Whole Foods. They'll click away to somewhere where it says click here to buy now, and they're done. We need to offer that same convenience. And with technology today, we can be a teeny tiny farmer and be able to do that. And you've got to step up and do that in order to do business in today's world. So get set up with your payment processing system. There's hardly any cons to that. The fees are nothing compared to the extra profits you'll make. And then the last step in this section, part 2, and remember, you can get all the steps at 3calmarketing.com/25 steps, and the links are with this video. But the last step is to find an insurance agent you trust. This is kind of like finding an accountant. I have to talk with my insurance agent regularly, a couple times a year. I mean, maybe that's not often, but it is regular. And I want someone that I can trust what they're saying. And I make sure that I trust them to not be underinsuring me or overinsuring me. Again, I work with many, many, many farmers all year long. And a very common email I get is from someone who says they had a fire and they were underinsured and they can't replace their barn. I see this happen all the time. Every year, it happens to several people. So our farms change and evolve all the time. We build new buildings. We take away old buildings. We move hay from this building to that building. We start storing it over there, and we forget to re-update our insurance. So I want you to find an insurance agent who knows and understands farms. And again, ask around. You have someone in your network who will refer you to someone, and who will meet with you once a year or every 2 years minimum to make sure you're covered in the right way for everything, and that you're not over or under insured. Now, I will give you an example of the insurances I have, the policies. I certainly do not have exactly what you need. Everyone's going to have a little bit different, but just to give you an idea, I'm going to explain what I have. First of all, I have what probably all of you have, a general liability policy on your farm. And this covers, I don't even, don't take my word for it. I know my insurance agent has me covered, but I think it's people coming onto the farm in general, general liability for the farm. That is not product liability insurance. If someone gets sick or, whatever, it's not product liability at all. So I have that. And then I also have product liability insurance for my raw milk and my meat and my egg sales. And I can tell you this, I got my raw milk liability insurance many years ago, so I'm grandfathered in. So right now, I can't tell you where to get raw milk liability insurance. That is one of the biggest hurdles in our industry in America, because it's illegal in Canada, can't get it anyway, there is that most raw milk producers in America cannot find product liability insurance. So don't email me asking me where to go, because right now I'm lucky I'm grandfathered in, but I don't know where to send you. There are a couple, the big dairies in California, it's legal. So it's a whole different ball game there. But if you are a dairy, raw milk dairy elsewhere, it can be difficult for you to get product liability insurance, but you'll want it on your other products, your meat and your eggs. Then my next kind of insurance is I teach classes in our house. I teach nutrition classes, which are people coming, but they're in our home, and I teach cheese making classes where people are in our home and they're using burners and pots and pans and scissors and things. And so for $350 a year, which is really cheap for me to have that peace of mind, I have extra coverage for the people who are inside my house on a home-based business taking those classes. And my insurance agent found that for me. And it's peace of mind. The other type of insurance I have is we do a kids camp every summer for 6 to 12-year-olds. And we have coverage for that, which goes beyond our general farm liability coverage because they're riding horses. Our general farm policy would not cover a kid getting injured on a horse. So again, this is $350 and it covers the weeks we have kids there in camp, covers them riding horses. They jump in a small pool at the end of the day, covers them on that. And just they're using tools, they're hammering. So the insurance agent asked me all the activities the kids are doing during camp, and that policy covers them. Now, we never had to use it. We did have kids get stung by a bee twice in all the years we've been doing it. Nobody ever sued us though, but I had so much peace of mind being able to tell the parents as they were signing up. It was part of our promotion that we have extra coverage that week in case of something happening, and we've never had to use it, luckily, but I wanted the parents to have peace of mind knowing that we had that too. If their kid got injured, we had an insurance policy that would cover their kid so they didn't have to tap into their own insurance on that. So that was great peace of mind for them. The last kind of policy we get, and I highly recommend, is if you're doing farm events like farm dinners, you can get a 1-day rider to your homeowner's insurance. Again, call your insurance agent. That policy you can add on a 1-day rider. When we did it, it was about $200. So don't quote me on that, but it gives you an idea. And it's for farm dinners where we especially might be serving alcohol. It covers that. Or, my daughter got married in the yard. So if you're having weddings on the farm, you might want to add those 1-day riders, because if something happens, you don't want to lose your house in a lawsuit because something happened, when for $200 that could be covered. Now, I also want to say lastly on insurance that everyone has a little bit different risk level, risk tolerance. I tend to be someone who I take less risks in that area. I'm not willing to risk as much. I want to make sure I'm covered for people coming inside my home and kids and all that. So, and people having dinner with wine served here. So that's why I have all this insurance. Someone else may have a lower tolerance. So I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just letting you know that this is what I have, and it gives me peace of mind. I can sleep at night. And the people who do business with us also have peace of mind. So it really helps. And all these policies, like, the home business policy, one person signing up for a class pretty much pays for the policy. The kids camp, one person signing up covers that. So they are not financially a struggle either. It's the cost of putting on that event for me, in my case. But that's it for episode 2, or part 2 of the 5-part series of setting up and starting your farm business. Again, this is for you beginning farmers, or if you've been in business for a few years, check it out. But share this with your friends who are starting farms. It will help everyone lose far less money and get far more sustainable way faster. All right. And also be sure to check out the new podcast, The Profitable Mindset. It's on iTunes or wherever you listen, and the links to those podcast platforms are along with this video too. I have a chance. These first 6 weeks of a podcast are crucial for reviews so that I get into the algorithm, get some more reach. And so you have a chance to win a drawing to work with me for free on a free website review or social media account review. If you go to 3cowmarketing.com/iTunes, it will describe what you need to do in there to enter that drawing after leaving a review on iTunes. And I got to say, these first few weeks, you guys, the response has been incredible. We're in the top 200 of podcast, which is huge and a very coveted position. We were number 93 yesterday. So I so appreciate all the reviews that have come in so far, and give a listen there, and feel free, you guys, reach out anytime. I love to hear from you, what you're interested in hearing about and what's going on your farms too. All right, take care, and I'll talk to you soon. See you in part 3.